Hi, guys. Welcome back to La Lucha Zero podcast. I am your host, Edith.
And I'm Angel.
And today we have a very special guest, guys. She is a childhood friend. She's traveled the world, and she is a Latina licensed marriage and family therapist. Yazmin. Hey, girl. Say hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me, guys.
We're really happy that you joined us because I feel like most of our audience has been like, we want like somebody professional.
Yeah.
Give us the real.
Yeah, because so a lot of times, so we have a segment, a part of our show called Chisme pal metiche. And so people submit their stories, submit their chisme, or sometimes they just reach out to us because they want like our opinion or advice on something. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel like it's a long time coming. We've had people ask us for a long time, like, oh, like, you guys should have, like, a therapist or, like, some kind of, like, counselor or something. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, that'd be, like, such a great idea. Like, why haven't we done that?
Yeah, like, have an expert opinion on, like, certain things, certain topics. But let's start off with, like, you, girl. Let's start off with a little bit of you. I know a little bit about you, but I feel like our audience wants to know a little bit more. Well, let's start off with, like, you're first gen, right?
Yes, I'm first generation Mexican American.
Oh, that's nice.
What part of Mexico is your family from?
So my dad is from Tamaulipas, and my mom is from Acapulco.
Oh, nice. Like, do you go back to Mexico? Like, or,
yeah,
and travel.
Yeah, I'm more of a tourist over there, though. Yeah.
Do you still have family out there?
I do. Yeah, I go to the places in Mexico where I want to go more than I go and visit family.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
it's like a first gen thing, though. Like you have the family that you have here, and those are like your people. I know my extended family in Mexico is just like a different world.
Yeah, it's like different. It's just separate. No, definitely. You know what? That's one thing that I've been wanting to do because for me, whenever I go back to Mexico, I go back to the same pueblo that we're always from, and then I spend the whole time there. Like, I want to travel and like know more places.
Yeah, like travel to different places in Mexico, like not just where your family was from.
Exactly. Oh, sorry, guys. What places have you traveled within Mexico?
I've been to Tulum twice.
Oh.
And the way I describe that, does your audience know you're in Vegas?
Yeah.
So it's basically like Vegas on the beach. So that's really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somewhere where you guys should go, where it's a little bit more low key, but it's really, really beautiful because less people go.
Yeah.
Balcalar.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
No, I haven't.
And I've also gone to Yucatan. That's all I can remember right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Rosarito, of course,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I've gone down to Cancun. I did a family trip to Cancun. And then I think up next we want to do Puerto Vallarta. So
I think the only way to get to Balcalar or to get to Tulum, you have to land in Cancun. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, and then you go from there.
I know Tulum because we were debating whether to go to Tulum or Cancun. But because my nephew is going with us, we're like, we might as well just stay in Cancun. Because Tulum, I seen that's more like party scene, more
For sure.
like, I was like, you're a little too young.
Yeah, and the scene is completely different. Like, they're just out in the open and stuff.
Oh.
Like topless or?
No.
Okay, I was like, whoa,
wait, I didn't
they
hear
just
about
walking around.
No, like the drug dealers are like, hey, morra, like, ¿qué quieres?
Oh,
and like
shit.
this, everything is
a little
out.
bit more direct. Yep.
Yeah, not even trying to be like sneaky.
Low key?
Yeah.
But you travel a lot though, right?
Yes, I do.
What was your most recent
Like my short trip or my bigger trip? My last bigger trip was to Peru.
Oh, no.
And I spent 2 weeks out in Peru. Yeah.
Oh, did you do what did you do? Did you do Machu Picchu?
I did do Machu Picchu.
Oh, how was that? Because I heard that it's hard.
What do you mean it's hard?
Like going like the hiking up, the like
So there's a way where it's so convenient, and we had it all set up to the point where you were gonna get on the train, and then from the train, you just book this bus that's like a 15-minute drive and takes you all the way up to the top, to like the entrance of the park. But when we were there during our trip, they went on huelga, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Huelga?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They had a huelga, and so everything went to, can I cuss on here?
Yeah, definitely.
Everything went to shit. And so it was like a big group of us, and so we decided that we were just going to try to find and figure out a way. So we hired a private tourist company to kind of guide us through. It ended up being like a 6-hour drive into Machu Picchu Pueblo, and then it ended up being an 8-mile hike to the hotel. And then we woke up the following day at 5 in the morning and hiked the actual Inca like stairway for another hour and a half. Jesus. And then we were finally at the entrance. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it was overcasted, okay? We were singing to the gods, like, please clear up so we could get this Machu Picchu picture. And we did get Machu Picchu pictures. Yeah.
Oh my.
But there's some trauma in there. Yeah, there's some stress. Yeah.
That's definitely a core memory.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Forever. Oh my gosh.
It was an experience. And they were in Huelga, and they do their... It's just so much more different there. Like, we would wake up at the hotel and we would hear gunshots. And then one of my friends is married to a white boy, and you know we already stood out because we didn't look like the people there. We weren't wearing the same clothing that they were wearing, and we had this blonde, blue-eyed guy with us too.
Oh
yeah.
Y'all are sticking out like a sore thumb for sure. Yeah. What about your short trip? Because you mentioned the long one. And what about your most recent short one?
I'm a big national parks fan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the last trip was on Father's Day with my papa, and we went to Sequoia National Park and Kings Canyon National Park. Yeah.
Is your dad also like to be like active and do all the hiking and all that stuff?
Yep, that's where I get my adventure side from. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you get your adventure side from your dad. Where did you get your the urge to kind of like pursue the career that you're taking?
My brains from my dad.
Yeah. So todo el papá, ¿verdad? Like, did he so focusing a little bit more on on your career. So now you're a licensed therapist, right? What made you take that choose that career path?
My funny answer is Freaky Friday. That's my funny answer. Yeah. Okay. With Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
That movie?
Okay. Oh my God. Aren't they making a second movie?
Yes.
I was so excited. I'm like, I cannot believe how long it's been. Because I saw all the cast and I'm like, whoa, you guys aged a lot. But I'm really excited. Anyway, sorry. You're just...
But it's such a great movie. I feel like that's what kind of sparked the idea in my head. But growing up, I was fascinated with human behavior and not just human behavior, but their feelings and what motivated them to that behavior. And then just for a lot of us therapists, in our backgrounds, sometimes we didn't get enough of something, and that kind of just influenced me into researching more, doing the deep dive on what I wanted to do. Some people, that I've known all the way back, friends of ours that we've shared, tell me, we've heard you say ever since middle school that you wanted to be a therapist. Yeah, it's not something that I recall, but I've had 3 or 4 people tell me that I still talk to today.
Oh my gosh. So you knew from a very young age then?
Well, I set out on my degree when I was a sophomore in high school. Yeah.
Oh, you started really, because I do remember that you graduated early, right? Not from college, right?
Yeah.
Because you graduated early, and you also have your master's. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, to be a shrink, you have to have a master's.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you did it all at a very early age.
So I was a sophomore in high school, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I looked up the programs that were available. A lot of people and a lot of our friends were in magnet schools. That would only get you so far, and I looked into the CSN high school program here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So what that is, you're still working on your high school credits, and your electives are all college courses.
Oh, okay.
So by the time you graduate from high school, you basically already have your associate's degree.
Oh, that's really good. So you graduated with your associates, and then from there, you got your bachelor's. But you did that really quick, didn't you, as well?
Mm-hmm. So I'm your class of 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a class of 2014 from high school, and then my bachelor's I got in 2016, and then I graduated with my master's in 2019.
Oh man, props to you, girl.
How did your family feel about that? It's only because I've seen like even just like statistically speaking, it's like a lot of Latinos don't get that far, you know, like it's such a small representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think at the beginning, everyone was just like, whoa, like, go for it, and encouraging me and pushing me. But then my family, you know, also sees, like, all of the studying and, you know, like, they're also counting time. So, yeah, you're ahead of the game, but then it's like, so when is this coming? Towards the end, it ended up being that. So, like, when are you done? But now, like, it's so much more different. Like, everyone is just so proud. I think you just, like, it's the anticipation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And mind you, none of my family was, like, taking care of me. Like, I was completely on my own. I wasn't asking for any help. But I think they just saw, like, a master's program is full-time. So I wasn't working. And so there was always that stress of, like, oh, man, I'm dependent on someone to just, like, you know, even have a roof or eat. But that strain was not on my family. Yeah. But my family, because I did take that route, my little sister ended up, and maybe I was part of it too, kind of pushed her, like, go to CSN high school. Yeah.
And start doing it, like, start getting ahead of it. That's amazing. Was, like, education, like, I know with a lot of, like, Latino parents, education is a big thing. Like, that's what they're push for their kids. Was it the same in your household? Like, it was just, like, you have to go to college. There's no...
I think especially for, like, first generation, right? Especially, like, if your parents made that sacrifice and immigrated here, they were kind of, like, with in mind a better life. You have more opportunities here. My mom, she didn't graduate high school. I think, like, most of us, like, our parents only make it to, like, middle school in Mexico.
Yeah.
My dad, on the other hand, different from my mom's family, my dad went to college. Like, he was one of the first ones that was like, I want to get out there, and then the rest of his family followed him. Like, oh, okay, my dad's name is Sabas. Sabas is doing that. Well, I want to go to college as well. Yeah. So I grew up, you know, witnessing and hearing of my extended family members in Mexico, like my cousins who are older than me, getting their degrees. And, you know, I had aunts that were accountants for, like, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So for me, like, growing up, my dad was just, like, their brains, and he has his degree in Mexico, and that was the steps I was going to follow.
Yeah.
What made your parents come out here?
A better life. Yeah. More opportunities, dinero.
Yeah. Does he use his degree out here? Was it, like, something that he could...
Nope, it's completely not valid.
Yeah. Damn.
So he had to pick up a different trade.
Oh, man. And that's a big life change.
That
having
is.
to, like, completely 180 your life.
Yeah. Like, my one of my uncles in Mexico, he was like he was a part of, like, the police force and stuff, and he was, like, kind of up there, you know. And then after leaving Mexico and coming here, it was, like, totally different, because he, like, picked up, like, construction, you know, like, your typical, like, physically demanding jobs, and he did, like, construction, and he did, like, pools and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm just like, I asked him one time, I'm like, do you ever, like, miss it, like, what you used to do? And he's like, I did, but I also feel like he basically said that he had to put, like, his wants and stuff aside for, like, wanting to have a better opportunity for his kids. So that's why he brought them out here. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Yeah, those are, like, the sacrifices that our parents like make, and I'm like, I'm so grateful for our parents.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy to, like, look back on it now and think about it. Like, you left everything you knew and everything that was familiar for you and your family, like your mom, your dad.
Yeah, and then you try to get in their shoes, and I'm like, I can't leave my parents.
For sure.
I'm like, I need to be close to them. Talking about family, how many siblings do you have?
So So it wasn't just my parents who immigrated. My mom already had my brother, who's 9 years older than me. So he immigrated over here too. So that's one of my brothers, and then I'm the second child, and then I have 3 smaller siblings. So I have a sister who's 19, a brother who's 17, and then another brother who's 16.
Oh man, they're all.
Are you guys close? You guys are pretty close in age. Well, your younger ones are, but are you guys all close? Like, are you guys?
Well, my older brother, he's 9 years older than me, and my sister's 9 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's an interesting dynamic there too. We're close. I love my siblings. That's the biggest gift my mom could have given me. Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, I love them. They're like they're my favorite people. They're my best friends. All of them.
Maybe. I'm just kidding.
Interestingly enough, though, like my brother, he started having kids when he was 17, and my mom wasn't done yet. So I have like a sister that's born, a nephew, a brother, a nephew, a brother, a nephew.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So it's like those, like the nephews that you do have, it's kind of like siblings in a way too, right? Like
I think they consider, just because I'm a little bit older, but it's not like they know I'm young and they know I'm significantly younger than their dad.
Yeah.
But the siblings and the nephews, like my smaller siblings, they do see each other like more siblings or cousins.
Yeah.
More than their tío and tía.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's interesting. And so so when my sister had my nephew, I was like 13 or 14, and I still like vividly remember being like, I don't want to be called a tía, because I felt so young. I was like 13, 14. I'm like, I don't feel like a tía. So I never let my nephew call me tía or auntie or anything. So till this day, he's almost 16 now, and he calls me Angel. Like, he calls me by my name. And I remember like people would be like, you don't think it's weird that your nephew calls you like Angel, like instead of or tía or something? And I'm like, no, it's completely normal for me. Like, I didn't want to be called that growing up. And so now I'm like, he's at an age where I'm like, I can't tell him like, oh, you got to start calling me this now, you know, like that's kind of weird.
Change it up.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Oh, I can't relate to that because I'm the oldest, so I have 3 younger sisters. One that's like 21. The other one's 17, and then I have my youngest sister that she's about to be 7.
Wow.
It's like what is it, like 21?
21 year.
21 years
So
ago.
yeah.
She's
I don't know what happened with my parents there, but
she's young enough to be your daughter.
yes.
I thought you couldn't outdo me, but okay.
No, girl. Like, I don't know what happened with my parents, but they gave me a nice little surprise, and yeah.
They still having a good time. That's what's going on.
I don't want to know about that. But yeah, I have a really close bond with all my sisters, like each different relationship, but I'm still really close to them. So I can relate to like how, like, siblings, oh my God, definitely the best gift parents can give.
For sure. The other thing, it gets more interesting. So I get the best of both worlds. I have siblings. Technically they're my half siblings. I don't consider them half siblings. But I'm my dad's only child.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And does that, like, because you said you don't see them as half siblings, right? Where you guys are.
They're my siblings.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So it doesn't change the dynamic of like, there's no.
But I get that other side of being the only child for dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so parents are no longer together.
No.
Okay.
Oh, so how is that? Like, on one side, you're part of like this big family, and then on the other, you're an only child. How does that work? How does that feel?
My parents separated when I was 5, so before I even made it to kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my mom and my dad have always been very present in my life, and because I had siblings and we've always just had like this big, huge family value, we've just all been really consistent in each other's lives. Yeah. And my dad is the nicest guy that you'll ever meet. My family, like, growing up, they could come over whenever. Yeah.
It wasn't like he didn't have it, like, he didn't just hold, it was just not just you. Like, it was okay.
No, my dad to this day comes around with the family.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, like, actually very healthy.
Yeah, and my older brother and my dad are really close friends.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's nice. I know, like, I have so much respect for people who can put aside like their own like bullshit basically, and then just like, you know, like keep the nice vibe and just be friendly with everybody and just be family. Because I kind of, my parents broke up too. Like they were never married, but they broke up when I was like in preschool, kindergarten-ish, you know, that age. And I know it was kind of like a rough ending to their relationship because of how everything went down. But then like as I got older, like they themselves we're still friends. Like my dad still calls my mom and just to check up on her and see how she's doing, you know? And it's like very interesting because you hear about like these couples who break up and then the kids are like stuck in the middle and they're just like, you know, you almost have that feeling of like you have that, because I kind of went through that initially where like you feel guilty if you're too close to one parent because then you don't want to make the other one feel bad. And but then like I think as I got older, like they became friends, so it was kind of like interesting to see that dynamic, because then you see I hear stories about people whose parents broke up and they like hate each other, and I'm like, dude, that sucks.
I know. That like having to like completely separate both families, just, yeah, I can't imagine. My parents are actually still married, so they're still together, so definitely blessed and very privileged for that. So but yeah,
it's interesting because I feel like that's like more uncommon now to have
it like. No, it is, because I don't really like no se oye mucho, yeah. Like most of the people that I know have like either
broken homes.
Yeah, they have broken homes, or like the parents are not together, or like something happened. So, yeah.
How has being in your career field, in your profession, influenced positively or negatively the, you know, relationships in your life?
Well, for starters, when you're in the field, you're consistently working with people and just being more conscious of like the role that you play and some of the things that are happening, but also like the role of others. And then not only that, like you're sitting with these people in really vulnerable places, but you're also still like developing as a professional, going to the trainings, like getting more skills to help these people. And then it's almost kind of like you can't leave this bank of knowledge that you're gathering. And for me specifically, like I'm really passionate about the field. Like I love what I do. That's not to say it's easy. And I think one of the reasons I love what I do is because I also have a big value of growth and development. And part of like studying systems, which is what you do with the specific license that I have or the degree that I have, marriage and family therapy, we're just talking about families and systems and those dynamics in those families. You kind of get to see like the little stuff that funnels down generation to generation. And at this point, like I have a sibling who already has kids. And I can see, and so this is where like that, why it was important to mention I'm the only child on my dad's side, and his family and his discipline and his approach is completely different from the way that my mom brought us up. Yeah, so my nervous system, you know, feels different among those two families. And with my siblings and my nephews, like I can see some of those like unhealthy dynamics, and you can't unsee them.
Yeah, because you already like know so much, so it's like, how can you not use that? Do you ever like, so because of your career, do you ever, I know it's probably like a big no, but give advice to your like family or anything like that, or not so much like, you know, give them like your therapy and your, but like your expertise, or do you ever like put your input in that way?
So I've been in the field for 6 years. And I used to, but I think currently I've been figuring out who's open and willing. And sometimes the thing is too, like, just because they're saying they're open, or just because they want to be understood, or they are saying they want the feedback or insinuating they want that feedback, the response or the reaction does not line up. Yeah. So, like with my older brother, he's very open-minded and he's very humble and he's open to different perspectives. And in our dynamic, it's very much take it or leave it. So with him, it works. Yeah. Now, the younger siblings, they're still very green. They're still very young. With them, and the thing is, too, like, I appreciate them so much because they do give me the space. Like, they take an interest in what I do, and they do put some value towards it. But this is what I'm saying. Like, even though they do this, sometimes it's not really advice that they want, or it really doesn't land. So then it comes back on me, and now I can't control their behaviors. I am doing what I can to nurture these relationships in a positive way. Yeah.
Especially because they're teenagers, huh?
So. Yeah, and teenagers think they know everything.
Yes, yes, they do.
Yeah.
Definitely. Have you ever gotten the, my sister says this to me, she's like, oh, you make me cringe, you give me the ick. Have you ever gotten that from your siblings?
No, my siblings aren't like that.
You see, mine is just mean. Where do I trade her? I'm just kidding. No, but okay, so you kind of like know your boundaries depending on each family member, right? Like if you could like kind of give them advice or not, or like.
Yeah, because every single relationship is different. It's different. Every dynamic is different.
So kind of like, okay, so that's your family. What about like in friendships? Have you seen like a positive or negative impact within your career and your friendships?
I think personally too, like you're doing these work with people and you're kind of figuring out with them like what they're playing into the problem. You're more aware of like the red flags or like those wounds that are unconsciously coming up. So in part being in the career, like it's given me opportunity to connect with people that are really genuine and really compassionate. So some of my best friends are in the field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that definitely works out.
Not to say that like I've had ruptures with also friends that are therapists, and I still think they're great people. I feel like when you're in this field and when you're also like trying to you yourself apply what you're preaching to people, you are more solid in what you need and how to honor yourself. Yeah. Wow. So you stand your ground a little bit more and you take the risk. Yeah. So it's like it's positive. It's been really, really positive, and I wouldn't trade it. And there's also like, I don't think it's a downside. It's just kind of a thing. I don't know how to explain it.
No.
It's not completely a negative thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, as a positive, it also allows you to, like, create, like, very healthy friendships, I'm sure, because they are also aware of what's going on. But on the other side, I saw this one thing online somewhere where it was like, the more I heal myself, the less I like people.
Yeah.
Like, or like the less friends they end up having and stuff like that, because like they end up cutting people off, or like they just end up like going in different paths. Have you found yourself in a situation like that?
Well, you start cutting those relationships that no longer serve you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it takes a while. And I think like the hardest part about it is you do go through that grieving period of losing that attachment. But on the other hand, you're making room for more genuine connections that are reciprocal and fill your cup more than empty it. Yeah.
That will come in handy.
Yeah.
Definitely come in handy, because a lot of, I feel like, still learning, even at the age that we are, it's like especially when it comes to like relationships, friendships, and everything in that, it's a constant learning, and it's like trial and error basically. But I feel like having that knowledge gives you like a step ahead, like you know what to look out for,
There's an added layer to that too, though. I feel like a lot of the people that I sit with, and I work with a lot of Latinos, a lot of us get taught that connection is codependency. And there's people that I'll sit with and I'll start educating them on codependency, and they don't want to admit it. You know, like they don't want to accept it, and that's okay. You sit with people in the space that they're at, and you go at their pace. But our Latino culture is very codependent. And, you know, like even cutting unhealthy ties within your family, you get feedback or you get criticism and you get judgment. Because for so long, generation across generation, like this is what connection looks like. This is what love looks like. But something within this field too, like connect back to your body. What is your gut telling you? And if your gut is telling you no, like I don't feel comfortable here, I don't feel safe here, I don't no longer want to honor this, you deserve that.
You know, it's interesting. What you were saying just reminded me of, because I recently saw this other podcast, shout out to Los Compas. They were recently talking about how it's not that normal anymore for people to walk into a room y saludar. You know, like especially as Latinos, like when you go into a room and there's already people there, you're taught that you're supposed to say hi to everybody, you're supposed to saludar everybody, and you can't like leave without saying bye to everybody. And it's like that's just like that's so ingrained into our culture. Like you have to acknowledge people's presence when you walk into a room, because then if not, you're considered rude.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how like nowadays a lot of people don't do that now. Like they don't, there's a lot of people who aren't, and they're like talking about how like, is it like a manners thing? Like are people not taught this anymore? Or like what, you know, like they were kind of talking about that dynamic. And I feel like in my point of view, I was kind of like, you know, like I do think it's weird to walk into a room and not acknowledge someone's presence. I was like, but one thing that I feel like I'm changing, I think something that I'm changing from like our culture and what I was taught is that if I don't like somebody, I'm not going to force myself to go up to them and be all fake and say like hi or whatever, you know, like I feel like I'm not gonna like force that connection, that relationship. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be like a total bitch and like say something rude, but I'm just not gonna like, if I just don't vibe with somebody, if I don't connect with somebody like that, I'm just not gonna force it. I'm not gonna be like go out of my way to say hi or bye to them like that. But I, you know, like I also will acknowledge people in the room. I don't know.
That's hard because I feel like I'm still working on like that, because I feel like definitely my parents, where it's like it was like tienes que saludar a todos, and even till this day, you know. So there might be like family members I don't vibe with, but I still have to say hi. Like I can't, like I don't know if it's a thing of like respect or like basically I don't know, making my parents happy, not mad at me, or making what they would say, not making them look bad or anything like
well, you know, I remember as a kid, like I used to be really like shy, and my dad, like as healthy and great as he is, like he would stand behind me, he's like, esta pinche chiva, like ve a saludar, ve dar el beso. But something I do in my practice is like you have to, for kids especially, because they're so young and they're so vulnerable, they have no skills to regulate. They have no skills to express themselves. Like give them options. Like just because you're a hierarchy and you have these quote unquote rules that aren't necessarily like directly spoken to you, there's just so many instances in which you're teaching a kid to override whatever they're feeling in their nervous system. And that's a lot of the work that people come and do in the therapy room. Like, let's connect you back into your body. Like, this should have never been this way.
Yeah. I see. And like when you were saying that, like I was just like, I totally feel that, because I feel like as I've gotten older, because I'm definitely no family therapist or expert or anything, but I have done a lot of like self-development. Like I read a lot of books. I love reading. So I've read a lot of self-development stuff. And I think as I got maybe like about mid-20s, that's when I was like, I had to learn to listen to my body. And if I didn't want to say hi to somebody who has disrespected me in the past, I'm not going to. And I think I finally got over that feeling of like, but what are people going to say? What are people going to think? You know, like the family, you know, like, and, I finally had to like get over that. 'Cause I'm just like, if I don't fuck with you, I'm not going to fake it. Like but I'm not saying it was easy, because I did feel that guilt afterwards of like, fuck, because I feel like it's so ingrained in us, like it's a respect thing, but it's also like that person don't respect me. Why am I gonna, you know, like, I don't know. I think it's like it's a battle inside. It was a battle, and I think it's gotten easier.
Yeah, but that's the impact, like when you're talking about that guilt, that's the impact that it can have, like that over functioning guilt and shame, you know.
No, yeah.
Or anxiety, like doubting yourself.
Anxiety, that's our middle name over here.
He said that's our middle name.
Yes. Like I said, I'm still working on that. Props to you, props to y'all, you know, to be able to have like those very healthy boundaries. But I'm like, it's more so like I won't have a relationship with like certain family members, but I will still saludar for the only reason that like my parents value a lot, and that's, I feel like a lot of Latino parents do that. I value a lot how they look in other people's eyes. So I don't want them to, just because I didn't say hi to somebody, to like think that other people look at them another way. You know? So
do you do it like even if your parents aren't present?
No.
Or you only do it when they're around?
Well, I never came to the like to the point where I met like certain family members I didn't really like, just by myself. It's mostly like family parties and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's take a brief break and then we'll be right back. And we're back, guys.
All right. So we asked y'all, if you don't follow us on Instagram, y'all should be following us on Instagram, because we asked y'all if you had any questions for our guests, you know, so you guys could get that expert opinion.
Yes.
So
if you don't follow us at La Lucha is Real Podcast. We engage with all of you guys on there a lot, especially on Instagram. Yeah. Make sure you follow us on there.
Let's go with the first question, okay? It says, I'm 31 and I just started talking to my estranged dad after 19 years. Should I tell my mom?
Ooh. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's all they put.
That's all they put.
I'm wondering if the mom and the dad have like a bad
like beef.
Yeah.
I wonder what your body's telling you. I wonder what you're feeling in your body. And I think after you identify that, like, sometimes like sensations in your body aren't going to be so easy to decipher. Yeah. You might need like some support figuring that out.
Yeah. So it's not like a yeah or no. It's listen to yourself, girl or boy.
How do you think she should kind of approach, if she does decide to tell her mom, how would you suggest she approaches it?
Connect back to what she wants and what she needs. And whatever that is, like, stand on that ground.
No, yeah, definitely. Sorry, guys. Bro,
what's going on over there?
Technical difficulties with my phone.
I think that type of situation, though, like mom's gonna have feelings.
Yeah.
And that's gonna, you know, you're gonna have like these invisible loyalties.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, what is this relationship or this connection with him? Like, what are you after? What do you want? Like, this is kind of like to where we go into that codependency. Like, if she's not okay with it, then maybe I shouldn't be okay with it. That's not healthy. Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's true.
That is very true.
Okay, next question. Have you noticed that many marriages seem to be shorter nowadays? What do you think are some of the reasons behind this trend?
The times, the internet, the phones, the social medias. Also, too, like, there's just like all these devices like have really like disconnected you from what matters and what you value or your morals. And I think like the more people like hear, it's kind of almost like being normalized in a negative way. Like there's also too like this side of people that like, oh yeah, my husband did that to me. Yeah, my ex was like that. Yeah, my boyfriend does that.
Ooh. No, yeah. I feel like definitely the social media has definitely changed the game in relationships. But I think maybe everything, like what would you recommend? Like would be like how to navigate social media and everything like that being in like a marriage, in a relationship. Do you think like there should be like certain boundaries kept, or like kind of that way, so that way it doesn't interfere in that?
That's dangerous, like putting rules. I think, like, more importantly, whoever you're dating or whoever you decide to be partnered with, you should figure out whether or not you're compatible. Like, it's really, really easy to fall in love. Okay, it's a chemical reaction that's happening. It's really easy to be attached, but compatibility is a whole different thing that's going to keep pouring into your relationship. So what I mean by compatibility is, do you guys have the same values? Do you guys know each other's limits? And then not only that, like, if you have limits and they're crossed, are you gonna stand on your ground? Like, there should be a consequence. Are you going to put yourself first and honor yourself? And, if one of your limits was cheating, are you gonna walk away like you said?
I want to get your opinion on something, because I know he said that, like, nowadays a lot of marriages are a lot shorter than they were before. Do you think also what might not be affecting that, or what might be causing the trend? It's because I feel like, especially nowadays, I feel like a lot more women are more independent than they were back then, especially in like Latino culture, where like machismo and like calladita te ves más bonita, and I feel like now women are feeling more empowered to speak up for themselves and not be in a loveless marriage, or I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Machista culture is still very much there. Like, it's gonna take us many, many, many years to break away from that. Like, it's very much a systemic issue. Can you repeat the question?
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, I feel like nowadays a lot more women feel more empowered to speak up for themselves and to know their value and be like, you know what, I'm not going to take this.
Yes, got it. Came back to me, I'm sorry. Women are definitely, like, testing the status quo. So they're challenging. They're not testing it. They're challenging the normal. Okay, like, I think in our culture, like, maybe we have, like, grandparents who the grandma was a stay-at-home abuelita and depended on the man to be the provider. And even if they weren't your grandparents, maybe you have, like, different examples of where, like, women just tolerated and took, and even if they saw something that didn't feel good with them, I still just have to, like, hush hush and keep going because I'm dependent on this person. Women are definitely challenging that status quo a lot more, and men don't know what to do with that. Men are not equipped because it's a systemic issue. Yeah, like, and a lot of us in this type of situation are trying to point the finger. You're the problem. Sure. Okay, like, they have to take some type of accountability and responsibility, and it's beyond them. And like I said in the beginning, like, there's these generational issues and they're trickling down.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw this thing where it's like the time we're living in now is where it was a survey where it said that we have the most single men at this point. Like, in the time that we're living now. Because, really? Because of that, like how you said that women are challenging the status quo, and they're saying, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate all that, and I could do it myself.
I feel like, and like how you said, like, a lot of this, like, generational stuff, like, it just kind of trickles down, and I feel like they're learning those stuff, and, like, they don't know how to do anything differently.
Yeah. And they're not just, like, cutting these men off, like, they're taking them to therapy. Women are online, and there's all these, like, amazing resources as well. And they're trying to get, like, a corrective behavior out of these men. Like, they, it's not just a one solution.
Yeah.
And also for our friends out there, I'm not trying to say that men are the problem, because I feel like some people misinterpret things a lot. Yeah. We're not trying to say men are the problem. It's just, especially in the Latino culture, I feel like there is a lot of machismo, and
it doesn't apply to everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, we're talking about a very, I don't see everyone out in the world. Like, us therapists see a very small percentage of the population. Yeah, there's good men out there, guys. Yeah. There is. If you have toxic dynamics though in your family, like it's almost, it doesn't have to be certain, but there's a possibility that you are attracting people and similar dynamics that you grew up with. Yeah. So this is where, like, doing the work yourself.
Definitely, I feel like you are what you attract. And I feel like my own experience, definitely I could see that the more I healed, the more healed people I attracted. But the less, like, chaotic and very unhealed me was very much attracting very chaotic and unhealed men as well. So, no shade to all my exes.
But shade to some.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next question. That's, how do you cut off a family member financially without leaving them homeless? I think it's more so because maybe they have, like, their family members very dependent on them.
I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, how especially in Latino culture, like, a lot of people are codependent.
Yeah. I would get informed on those community, like, resources. Like, there's plenty of resources out there. Even if, like, they're struggling to hold a job or get a job, there are resources out there that will help them. There's resources out there that will give you free therapy for a couple of sessions. There are shelters out there. All these things. It might not be, like, the ideal situation, but there's definitely options out there.
Yeah, especially if that family member is very let's say toxic, or, like, I feel like that's probably what's motivating them more to be like, I need to part my ways, and you go over there, I go over here. But it's hard because in that Latino, like, for, like, I feel like that Latino first gen, like, guilt, if they are, or, like, just that guilt of, like, having to, like, basically cut that tie sets in.
But even beyond the guilt, like, if you are consistently compromising what you want, you yourself are going to grow very resentful, and you're going to be a part of your self-sabotage. Yeah. So be direct with this family member. Give them a timeline. I feel like if you're part of our culture, a lot of the times we don't want to hurt their feelings, or we don't know how to approach this because we didn't talk about hard topics, or we didn't talk about our feelings. Healthy people put things on the table. Healthy people confront problems. They find solutions. And you know, like, we're striving to be healthy. So you can get there. Not to say, like, you're unhealthy. Like, strive to be better. Yeah.
Damn, how do you even approach somebody about that? Like, hey, get your shit together, I'm cutting you off.
You got 1 month to get the out.
Well, I think the other thing is, like, if you don't set a limit to that, you're also enabling them.
That's a really good perspective.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, here's another one. What do you do when you're in love, but their credit score is shit?
That's one of my requirements.
It should have been set on the table from the beginning.
Like, that's a standard. We talk about that on the first date, baby. For real.
No, but yeah, like, what if you are in love and then you find out something that you just, like, that, the credit score you don't like?
Is that, like, a hard limit? Like
how do you approach that?
Well, the other thing is to, like, what are the other things that you are looking for in a relationship? And do they honor those things? Do they represent those things? So when you put that on a balance, like, is this really... And you know what? Like, if it's a deal breaker for you, it's a deal breaker. You have to learn about yourself, what's negotiable and what isn't. So many of us, too, when we aren't receiving what we want or what we need, we'll kind of like gaslight ourselves and ask for less. But then you have to be very careful about this because you're going to grow resentful.
There we're going. So definitely if...
He can work on it, though. Yeah, talk to him about it. This is really important for me.
You're already in love, so...
Yeah.
You're already in. That.
It's fixable.
Yeah, I definitely think that.
Maybe it was like some of those years where, you know, they were just being a little reckless, you know. You can help them fix it.
Let's see. The next question is, how do you prepare yourself and your family for leaving the nest as a first gen?
Ooh. What do you guys think about that?
I left the nest. I remember when I first left the nest.
Your family was not happy.
My family was not happy. They didn't like who I was dating.
You were like 18, 19?
No, I was 21.
21?
Well, yeah. I was 21. But my family did not take it well at all. Especially my dad. He didn't agree who I was dating at that time. And he basically told... I remember when we went ahead and asked him, or not asked, but let him know that we were moving out together. He basically told him, like, oh, you know, she's going to be right back. You can't maintain her lifestyle.
Who?
Yeah. And my dad was not.
How did the ex take that?
He just like no dijo nada. He just kind of took it and he was like, "Well, we'll see." Mm-hmm. And I did go back. So there's that. And then I moved back with my parents, and then I ended up getting my own home. That was a lot easier for me though, because I feel like because they saw the growth and the independence and everything like that, it was just so much easier for them to...
How did you prepare them that second time?
I had already told them, like, you know what, I kind of want to get my own place. They were a little bit on the fence. Well, actually a lot on the fence, because I was moving out by myself. So they were like, what if something happens? Like, why by yourself? Why do you want to be alone?
Oh, and I also remember, like, some of your family members were like, oh, eres una mujer soltera. Like, what are you going to be doing living by yourself?
Yeah. It wasn't my immediate family, but it did have, like, you know, my outside family be like, what are you going to do? You're not married. Like, they thought that I just, yeah.
You know, beyond notifying them, nothing else is coming to me with preparing your parents. But I do want to say... someone's emotional regulation, that responsibility falls on them. It's not your responsibility to emotionally regulate. Okay, like at parents at one point, like when parents are having kids are a clean slate. They don't have the developmental, they just don't have the development or the skills and resources to regulate themselves. That is your responsibility as a parent. Yeah. But once you're an adult, it's not your responsibility to regulate anyone and make them comfortable.
So you're basically like, I'm moving out. That's it.
We don't have to be mean about it. we can be nice, but then also like something in our culture, I don't feel like it was modeled for us it wasn't modeled for us to express what we needed or what we wanted. So a lot of people get stuck in actually asking people how they want to be loved or how they want to be taken care of or what kind of support they want. And so if this is where you have to be very direct with your parent, like, I need you to support me in this decision. This is the next step that I'm taking, and I need you to push me from behind.
Yeah.
You know what's very interesting to me is, like, especially as a first gen, I feel like a lot of our parents, like, left their home relatively young and then feel some type of way when their own kids decide to, like, leave the nest. So it's kind of like, it's an interesting, I think, to see, because I'm like, well, like, for example, my mom, she got married at 17 and left home, right? And then, like, I remember I stayed home with, I kept living with my mom until I got married, up until I got married. And I remember she was so, like, heartbroken over it. I'm like, Mom, I'm like 25. Like, I gotta get out, you know, like, I'm ready to take the next step in my life. She took it very well. Also, I feel like I took, like, a very traditional approach, because I lived with her up until the wedding day. Like my wedding night, I came home with my husband, and he lived with his family too up until our wedding. And so I think for her it was like easier because she knew that I was going to be taken care of, you know. It was a very much more traditional approach. Like,
and now you're married and you have a husband. Yeah. I feel like I'm sounding very cut and dry, and I think like I have to specify, like I've gone through these things myself, and there is a lot of shame and guilt. And when I moved out, I remember I was like, I only moved out like 5 minutes like down the street, and I was crying.
No, especially like when you're like, I don't know, when you're like so close. Like I'm really close to my parents, so both times it was like the first time I did move out, I definitely don't think I was ready personally.
were you like sad when you moved out the first time?
I was like, I felt like I fell into like a depression too.
Yeah, I cry every night.
Yeah, exactly. I would cry every single night because I miss my parents so much.
Aww.
And I would like go home as much as I could, and it's like,
or there was like weird feelings like I'm leaving them, I'm betraying them. But I think like the reason why it might sound like so cut and dry is I want you like to honor yourself. Like, where do you come in all of this? Like we have these feelings, but and it's okay to have these feelings. Like no feeling is ever wrong. It's also okay for you to do what you want.
Yeah. It's just a little hard, but you know, and you get there definitely.
Dang, I feel terrible now because I feel like I didn't feel sad.
But then again, like you did take the more traditional route, and then I feel like you waited till you got married, and it was just, I don't know.
That's probably healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I did not.
Like that's healthy.
I did not. I feel like I wasn't sad. I was actually very not excited because I'm like finally leaving my mom's home, because I feel like I could have stayed. Like I didn't have any issues with my mom, like living with my mom. There was no issue there for me. But obviously, like I do miss living with her, but I wasn't like heartbroken over it. I don't know.
There's a transition that parents go through as well, and that doesn't mean that you can't, if you want to support them through that, it doesn't mean that, you know, like what I'm saying, you can show up for them in a different way and still honor yourself. Yeah.
I remember my mom like she was cool with it until like the one day I remember she kind of was like, you're leaving me, you're getting married and you're leaving me. She just had like this one moment, okay? Because like otherwise she was very supportive of because me and my husband have been together since I was 16. So we've been together for like a while, you know? And so I think when finally he proposed, and I think everybody was like, finally, like what the hell? Why did you guys wait this long? But I feel like she had just this one day when she was like, oh my God, you're leaving me. And then my sister's like in the kitchen and she's like, I still live here. What the fuck? And then my mom's like, oh. Because she was like, you're leaving me all by myself. It was funny for my sister because she's like, ma'am, I still live here. What do you mean?
One of her babies is still leaving though.
Yeah. I'm the youngest, so yeah. Okay, next question. What is it with Latina moms and babying their sons?
Ooh.
That's an interesting dynamic. Like Latina moms and their sons, I don't know. And then it's like different with the daughter. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like men, oh my gosh, like so much is coming to mind right now. Like men,
just let it out.
Men are used to being taken care of by a woman and they don't even know it. They don't know that they can have a desire, a want, and a need, and they don't have to speak it, and women attune to them.
Say that one more time, please.
I don't know if I can. I feel like men don't even know that their needs and their wants get met before they even speak it or before they even think it, just because a woman is already so attuned to them. And part of that, I feel like, stems from the woman in their lives, whether it was their mom or their grandma. And that's one of the reasons why maybe they have such a difficult time when their woman presents this need or this desire. They have no idea what the hell to do with it because all their life they've been tended to.
Oh, man.
So why do you think, like, on the mom side, like, why do you think they're so, like, so, like, they have such a, like, I feel like they have a deeper attachment to sons than they do a daughter. Because I feel like they'll, like, serve the plate for their son, and then, like, the daughter is like, oh, no, you can serve yourself.
Yeah, they'll do the laundry for them. Yeah.
Where does that come from? Because I feel like, I don't know.
I think it goes back to machista culture. I really do. Like, you know, the man would show up and, you know, kick off his boots and you have a hot plate ready for him. Yeah, you do everything for them. And then it's like this, you know, men shouldn't be in the kitchen. They shouldn't clean. There's, like, male duties and there's female duties. Yeah.
And it just gets carried on, and then there we go.
Yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. Because then it also, and then when it comes to, like, the dating aspect, then it's like.
I've met men.
Huh?
I've met men with, like, a lot of mamitis. That's what you call it. Like, with that, literally their mom is, I'm not saying she shouldn't be everything, but, like,
it's just
boundaries.
Yeah, because also, like, mom is like, oh, no girl or no woman's ever good enough for my son. And I just never understood the mentality. Like, I don't know.
Well, the thing about that one is, like, yeah, like, we're never going to be their mom. We shouldn't be. That's gross.
Yeah.
And it's a turnoff. Yeah.
But I feel like even, like, there's, like, some men that, you know, that are looking kind of for what their mom was doing for them. And it's like...
That already sounds unhealthy. All kinds of unhealthy.
Science says unconsciously, though, we're attracting people like our parents. Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know what's interesting? Val is the opposite of my dad. My husband's Val. Okay, he's like polar opposite of my dad is very more like serious, very patient, calm, and my husband's like go, 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 and he's like hustler. He's very extroverted, total opposite of my dad. So that's an interesting concept. I wonder if maybe because I saw what my dad was and I'm like, maybe it was like that mentality. I was like, oh, I don't want that. I want opposite.
Different route. Definitely different route. But yeah, if you encounter somebody with mamitis, personally,
and we can't like generalize, you know, like we can't fit everyone in a box. Like this doesn't always apply to everyone. Yeah.
Take it with the grain of salt.
And even the things that I'm saying, everything is really just all about balance. Like it's okay if you know your mommies you and stuff, but at some point also like balance. Like if you're gonna get a woman and she's asking you for something, you don't even have to have the tools if you've always been taken care of. But just be willing. Okay, I don't have the tools. I don't know what to do with this. I need some help. I need some support.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work on this with you.
See, and that was because my husband has a very close relationship with his mom, and I feel like he's very much, that's like their dynamic, because he also has a sister and stuff, and you can kind of see the dynamic play out. But I feel like as we got older, and I feel like I think he started kind of laying down boundaries, and with his own mom too, because she was also very attached to him, and he had to lay down some boundaries and then come to terms with like, okay, I feel like he also knew he was ready to get married because he was willing to like put our marriage, you know, before like.
And that's so necessary. Yeah. I sit with so many couples that struggle with that and have been married like 15 years plus. Ooh. And still, like
they can't even do anything without going to their parent first. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy because you should be going to your spouse first.
Yeah.
But it's putting that boundary, and that's what makes it healthy, you know. But I do know people that don't put that boundary.
That's insane to me.
It gets toxic. The relationship gets toxic not only between the spouse, but also like it's just so toxic between the parent as well, and then the spouse and the parent, and
Yeah. And then the parent thinking that they, like, it doesn't matter what the fuck's going on in your life. Like, my needs come first. Like, I need you to come do this for me, or I need...
Because I'm the parent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's going to have consequence for, the little one over here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Next question. Advice for someone who has never had a relationship or talking stage and is starting to feel lonely.
I think we can all give advice on that, right?
Yeah. Personally, it's just...
You can't expect it to come to you.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do something about it. Like, you have to put yourself out there in some way. Like, if you're ready to date or be in a relationship, are you meeting anyone? Are you trying new things? Are you putting yourself in situations where you're gonna meet the one?
That's what I tell Edith all the time. I'm like, Prince Charming ain't coming knocking at your door.
You never know. You never know. Next time somebody knocking, they might be Prince
guy.
Exactly. But I definitely agree that you have to put yourself out there. Like, there's no way around that. That's the thing about it, especially. But I also don't think you should search or want a partner just because you're feeling lonely. I feel like Snaps. From there, I feel like that's just toxic. Just talking from my own experience, because I've done that, where it's like I felt lonely and I got a partner, but then codependency started stemming from that, because now it's like my happiness depends on them, because I started with not feeling completely good by myself. So I definitely think that you're feeling lonely, you should kind of do the work on yourself first, and seek a partner when you feel complete and full and good with being in your own solitude.
I agree with that. I think being okay in your solitude, in that way, I feel like you won't lower any standards just from like that need. Because you were so lonely, and then being fearful, like, I feel like stooping down to a lower level because of that fear of that person leaving, and it just comes from the fear of being lonely and not being okay with that. And also I think I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, but anyways.
That's me all the time.
I don't think you can pour into someone or even a relationship if you haven't figured out how to pour into yourself. But then if you've already done that and you know that you're solid in the own relationship with yourself and you're ready to date,
you got to put yourself out there. Unfortunately. They ain't coming through Amazon. So
for real, imagine.
I can't order one.
Okay, so that next question. Is this the last one? No, there's a couple more. Let's get through these. Okay. Advice on building healthy boundaries.
Ooh. Advice on building healthy boundaries.
Yeah, like, what's your top? Like,
what's something you tell your patients a lot?
Boundaries is kind of one of those like basic skills. And some people come in and it's just like different where people are. Like, I'm wondering if this listener already knows what kind of boundaries she wants to put forth. But if you don't know them, then totally get clear on what you want and what you need. And a boundary has two parts. So for one, a boundary has to have a component where you're protecting yourself. Like, it isn't just like, hey, Edith, I don't want you to do this, and dependent on whether or not she does it. There has to be a consequence. So if I don't want Edith to talk about a certain thing, then my boundary has to look something like, hey, I don't want you drinking my apple juice. And if you drink my apple juice, I'm not going to bring apple juice over to your house anymore.
No, wow.
That's a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
Because the first way around, you're not in control and you're not empowered. And so when this person, it's just not going to turn out well. And the other way, you have a form to protect yourself.
Yeah. 2 parts. That's good. I like that. Next question. Why do women move on so quick to be in another relationship after 8+ years living with someone, but still want to have you in their life one way or another, even though now they have kids? That's really specific.
That's oddly specific.
Yeah. Attachment, probably. I think my head goes to also, this is kind of therapy work if you're in therapy work, and if you're like the partner, you're in the situation of this, it's not going to go well if you go explaining what I said to this person. So just speaking, like if this was like the lady, like, you know, commenting this, why do I do this? Why do I have this behavior? It's probably an attachment issue. I would be curious as to what those unconscious fears are. Like, are we afraid to be alone? Are we feeling rejected? Do we have a fear of being abandoned?
There's a lot in play. A lot. That was very specific.
That was like very specific.
8+ years, kids, y todo.
I also wouldn't assume that all women are like that. Maybe you just had a very particular experience. But yeah, what do I know?
We're just talking about possibilities. We're not saying everyone's like this.
Okay, next question. I think this is the second to last one. We have one more. What do you do when your eldest sister is constantly praying for your downfall?
Wow.
Constantly praying for your downfall. Ooh.
That's toxic.
Yeah.
Oh, no. For me, I can't imagine myself. I'm the eldest from my sisters, so I can never in my right mind imagine myself.
I know. I honestly, that's very difficult because I have a very close relationship with my sister. Like, she's like my number one fan. Like, she's so supportive, and I don't know how I'd feel if it was like the total opposite, you know.
But like, how do you approach that? What do you do? Is that where like boundaries come in? Like, man.
What kind of boundary do you even set with something like that?
Yeah.
And I don't want, but some toxic dynamics, though, and this is maybe just like my personal opinion, but sometimes you're not in control of that other person. Even if you put it on the table and you try to set and you try to express what you need or how you want it to change, at the end of the day, it's their decision. And you don't always have to cut off, but maybe like let's start exploring your options. Like, is that something that would fit within your values and your person? It's just so difficult when you don't have any more context.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I think it's just a bad, honestly, shitty situation to be in.
All of these questions, guys, they're kind of really difficult to answer because you're not sitting with a person. Like, if like, I don't want to, if you were in therapy, we would do a deep dive and we would lean in and explore more. And unfortunately, though, like, you guys are just sending in the questions and we can't do that.
Yeah, it's just context is needed, but that's why we always recommend therapy on this podcast.
And this isn't therapy.
Yeah,
just getting a little bit of perspective.
Exactly. It was your turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or did I read that last
I
one?
don't remember, but you have the phone.
Okay. Last question. My boyfriend's point of view on marriage doesn't align with mine. He says all he knows are failed marriages because of his family, and he doesn't think the Bible's term of bikunwam should be taken literal. It's more of a business venture. Thoughts?
This is where you have to identify whether or not this is negotiable for you. And the thing is, you have to be really, really honest with yourself, because something that can kill your relationship if you say, okay, it's negotiable. Like, we don't have to get married, and it's really, really important for you. Resentment's going to grow, and that relationship isn't going to turn out so well. The outcome isn't going to be great.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I was like, it's probably gonna fall back on like feeling resentful, like at the end if she ends up like settling.
Exactly.
I mean, well, it depends on like what her point of view is on marriage.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like it's not. Well, she did say it's not aligning with his.
I know.
This is where that like topic of compatibility. Are we compatible? Are we moving the same way? Do we have the same goals? Do we have the same values? But definitely talk about it. Like, get help. That's one of the difficult ones. Yeah. Because there's so much to explore there. Like, I feel like some people, like, on the other side, like, for him, maybe it's scary. Very scary.
Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that he's been modeled or the examples that he's had.
Like, he just sees it, like, because it said, like, he's only had failed marriages, right? Like,
he's only seen failed marriages.
So I feel like maybe he correlates marriage to failure, and he doesn't want that for the relationship.
So not necessarily that he just has to get on board, but how do we start paying some attention to this and moving forward with this?
Yeah, good.
I have a question for you. Kind of that, going based off that. What are your thoughts on people whose idea of marriage is a business venture? Like, where does that stem from?
Like, you want my personal thoughts?
Yeah.
Personal.
A business venture. Well, at the end of the day, like, you are bringing in together assets. I don't know, you know, like, this isn't necessarily a topic, like, we've entertained in the trainings.
No,
But just, like, thinking about it in my head, or, like, we can all think about it collectively, like, if you don't have a prenup, like, all of your assets are tied in together. Yeah.
And some people just kind of see that's their first perspective of marriage. It's like, oh, my God. Like, especially if, like, one person has, let's say, a lot of assets, and the other person doesn't have that many. It's like, for them, they see it maybe risky, you know, like.
And unfortunately, like, the world we live in, you know, security is a foundational need, and finances are tied with security. Even though, like, oh, we don't want to talk about money, or it's such a touchy subject, like, at the end of the day, like, we need money for a roof and, you know, to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to live.
It's expensive. It's expensive. But yeah. And that concludes our questions. Thank you for everybody participating.
Yes, I appreciate all of you guys who engaged with us.
Yeah.
Should we do, because we're already running a little bit over time, should we just do one chisme for the chisme?
Yeah, do one chisme for the people because they love this. So basically, the segment is just people submit their chisme anonymously. And some of it is wild.
Okay.
So from here, you know, it's your personal opinion, you know, no professional. So
this is just them letting us know, just letting us know what's going on. Okay, here we go. I feel like I'm growing apart of my best friend of 10 plus years, except it's more complicated than you think. You see, Jessica and I have been in somewhat of a partnership for a really long time. Our husbands have always been okay with it too. Jessica and I have always referred to each other as girlfriends. Best of both worlds, right? Married with our own husbands, kids, and my best friend is my girlfriend? Shoot, LOL. Now I feel stuck. Before it was fun, like I couldn't believe this was my life, how well everything just worked for all of us. I took a step back recently, and she's been sort of questioning my distance. I really don't know what to do, amigas. Jessica recently announced she's pregnant with baby number 3, and I feel like this is my chance to distance myself. I know the whole thing is complicated. I feel like I did this to myself. Anytime I try to get a new friend or try to hang out with someone, she feels left out. I feel like I always have to invite her, pay, pick her up, etc. Anything and anywhere we go. I love her, but damn, I need and want more friends. I seriously don't know what to do.
Ooh.
Y'all wanted context?
She gave all the context. Oh my gosh. It sounds like she said she wanted more friends, so it seems like she kind of like closed herself off, right? To just that friend. And now she she wants to venture out and find.
But I feel like at this point, like her best friend kind of became more of like a love interest, you know? Like I feel like they built that kind of connection, and so like maybe she just wants like a platonic friendship. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting. What are you getting?
Well, I heard that she's picking her up and she's paying for her.
So maybe she feels like she's a boyfriend, or not a boyfriend, but like, you know, like she's.
But it sounds like it doesn't align with her anymore.
It just
like
feels
that's
like
not something she wants to partake anymore.
Yeah, honestly. But would you choose a pregnancy to like distance yourself?
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
To distance yourself from someone because they're pregnant.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would I don't know. I'm the person that like approaches the things is like, let's talk about
directly.
It. Yeah. Like, and if it doesn't work, if we grow apart, because that happens to a lot of friendships, you know, you grow apart and that's completely okay. It's just communicating that with the other person, you know.
But don't go doing things that you don't want to do anymore. Like, don't go compromising what you want or how you want to pour into this relationship just for that person.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting situation.
How did she approach that? Like, how would you approach that? I don't know. It's just, it's an interesting dynamic that's going on.
So, from what I got, they're like now a thing, right?
Well, they were best friends, but they were also like kind of like in a relationship.
Yeah. But does she want it to go back to best friends, or just kind of like, just, you know what?
She just doesn't vibe with her anymore, you think?
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like she feels like obligated to invite her, or then.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah.
She feels
or
like
she feels left out, and then she's like, "Oh no, I have to invite her."
I don't know.
This is
that's a tricky situation, friend, because I feel like I said, I'm very direct.
Yeah,
so.
Me too. Honestly, I feel like I'm the type of person that I would address it with them. I don't know. I guess like share kind of what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not a bad person for outgrowing the relationship. Like, it's perfectly normal. People change all the time. Yeah.
But that's not to say that also, like, I feel like it could also, I guess for people who aren't confrontational, maybe, that conversation can be difficult. It's not to say that the conversation will be easy, but also kind of like what you keep saying is like, keep on honoring yourself and what feels right. I feel like we can go back to that.
Yeah. And then you can also give your friend an opportunity to find more genuine connections too.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, that concludes today's episode.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to plug in your social media.
Yes, please. So you guys can follow me at Tu Latina Therapist on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok, and I post therapy content on there.
Love
Follow
that.
her, guys. Make sure that if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, to click follow. And also leave a 5-star review. Anything less,
you're gonna hit the DMs. We'll talk about it.
Comment, like, subscribe. Trying to think about.
I don't know. Damn, why do I feel like I forgot our outro?
Damn. Let me say that at the same time. But yeah, that right. Comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, guys, que tengan un buen día.
Besitos.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wait, hold on. Que Dios los bendiga.
Besitos.
Bye, guys.
Bye.